President's report was going to be being made at this meeting, and so this time I will turn the agenda over to Mr. Gates. Thank you, Mr. Dodge. This will be a monthly feature. We're reinstating this. This did occur many years ago, and we've reinstated it to make sure of ensuring communication, thoroughness, and our transparency with issues. So I'll be working through this report and kind of building it on the fact of how we start a power company, which is with the fuel we use, and we transfer that by generation into electricity. We get it to the customer with transmission distribution. Then we have to finance that, and we work with the customers. But the key part is our people in the organization, the people at OPPD. So I'll be covering all those major topics. The vice presidents are here to answer any detailed questions the board might have, or others. But I'll go ahead and get started. With regard to fuel, as you previously approved, we're working on the natural gas supply piping to Nebraska City, and this will be for startup in Nebraska City, and will eliminate the need to have fuel oil used for that, which will reduce our emissions, which also decreases the cost. We're in the heavy part of that. We've got proposals for the gas igniter system, and the piping installation have been prepared, and we're working on land easements now to get it from Nebraska City. The pipe will take the gas down to our Nebraska City plant. We've updated our 5-year fuel budget, which, as you know from reading the paper, natural gas is at an all-time low, and we factored that in. We've purchased 275 megawatts on peak for July and August at an average price of $30 a megawatt. This compares to $38 a megawatt in July and August of 2011. This will allow us to cover generation for Fort Calhoun over the summer, as we're looking to a September restart for that unit. Moving into the generation area, North Omaha and Nebraska City stations continue to run well, and we're working on issues there as far as the future and how we're going to comply with future regulations, and that's active on our schedule. Our renewables this year, primarily the wind farm, we're running at over a 40% capacity factor, which is excellent, produced 50,000 megawatt hours, and that's been averaging that about for the first months of this year. What that boils down to is 6.1% of our retail sales were from a renewable source. With regard to Fort Calhoun, some details on that in addition to the briefing that the board's had. The plant does remain in a cold shutdown condition with the fuel loaded in the reactor and cold shutdown. With regard to our recovery from the flood, our confirmatory action letter, which exists for that, is being worked through. We're getting close to being completed with that. We've completed about 95% of the items on that confirmatory action letter. The 480-volt load center, which we've talked a lot about around Fort Calhoun, the repairs have been completed. The load center was restored to energized condition on March 4th. And as we covered in several times, we did find a miswiring on the 480-volt breaker, which was the cross-connect issue, the non-segregated bus issue, as it's referred to. So we have the answer for that. We checked all of the breakers, and none of them had the same wiring issue. We're conducting a third-party analysis of the 1B4A breaker, which will put 3 levels of root cause analysis. That should be completed within the next 10 days, and that will be the conclusion of the analysis of that issue. With regard to the geotechnical evaluation, that's the evaluation essentially for us of the ground under the plant. We've completed 1 review. We wanted to take it further. We're completing another review. That is in the final stages as well. Any remediation in the maintenance shop and the turbine building have been completed, particularly on the turbine drain line. We had a drain line from the turbine building sump, which had caused some of the erosion unrelated to the flood. And I toured that with the system engineer that was involved with that, and his innovative solution saved the district probably $250,000 in the way he approached that problem. He's a new engineer, and really did a good job with that. Really is a view of the future of our company. He really grabbed a hold of that and did a great job. So those are the event type issues. But with regard to the recovery plan, that integrated performance plan is in place. We've got about a third of it completed on the discovery end. And that matches in with the regulatory piece, which is the restart checklist that we've talked about previously as part of the 350 process that the NRC has. That will include all of the remaining flooding items, any finding of color that we've had, and our corrective actions for that, the flood restoration, and any other issues that may come out of the discovery piece. We have commented on the draft checklist from the NRC. We anticipate both the final checklist and the confirmatory action letter, which implements that checklist for us regulatory-wise, to be issued by the 31st of May. And that will then form the basis for the inspection plan. The NRC indicates at this time that their inspection process will be to put people on the site so they inspect continuously, so that they, as we work through the issues, they're inspecting them in parallel, and that will keep a large bow wave from occurring, essentially to do a very large inspection at the end, but rather inspection as we go along. With regard to future public interaction, we're scheduled for another public meeting on the 31st of May. Now that will have a little different format. It's the NRC's venue, so they pick the format. It'll be an open house type format, and it will occur between 11 and 2 at the Doubletree here in Omaha. We'll also have an area there, but we won't be in the same room. We'll be in a nearby room and have people available to talk about the plant performance and recovery status, as well as any other questions they may have with regard to Omaha Public Fire District. So it's a little different format, and the NRC is involved in that. So that's the fuel and generation. Now we take to the wires. Mr. Dogman doesn't refer to them as just wires. It's how we get that electricity to the customer. In that area, we've made significant improvements in human performance. Specifically, that shows itself in safety. We're about 30% better than we were in 2010 and 27% in 2011. The rating for the company is in the first quartile, top quartile for reliability on our system. Some interesting projects that we're preparing to do. We're preparing to serve about 80 oil wells southeast of Humboldt. Director Ulrich will be down in that area working. That schedule is completed as we go through the whole thing in March 2013. Significant challenge that we're addressing in a very aggressive and positive way, but we need to put some new transmission in to ensure stability of the system. That'll be a line that we're working in partnership with Kansas City Power and Light, and part of the Southwest Power Pool, which we talked about earlier. That's our regional transmission area. And that line will be about 175 miles of line going from Nebraska City to Maryville, Missouri, and on to Sibley, Missouri. And we anticipate completion of that in 2017. And then we completed a very exhaustive study of the off-site power at Fort Calhoun Station. That's been an industry issue around the country. And we have some improvements which we're making for that, but we found it to be an already reliable and robust system. With regard to finance, has been previously talked about, but to summarize, our net income is for 2012 is budgeted to be $42.9 million. Now, net income for a public entity is a bit of a, you wonder why we might have that term, but we use it as a way to define what excess cash we really need to have a normal course of business for a company like ours. And that current financial projection is based on a restart schedule in September for Fort Calhoun. Now, the estimated incremental cost for Fort Calhoun is about $32 million for the areas of improvement that we need to do. Two areas that I want to highlight on that, though. We do have a potential insurance reimbursement that would cover a significant portion of the additional purchase power. And we also have taken out from the corporation the money to finance or to cover the costs of that recovery effort. So we do not anticipate any additional rate increases for 2012 because of the efforts. We're in the process of updating documents that would be necessary to issue new construction bonds or refinancing, refunding of our current bond structure. We anticipate that may occur at the end of 2013. Mr. Easterlin, our CFO, is watching that closely because of the interest rates currently existing, and we want to take advantage of those if we can. It's the crystal ball there is interesting, and we'll just have to continue to watch it. But we'll bring that to the board. We anticipate in June for permission to do that, and then we'll do that so that we can move quickly if the interest rates are in our favor. We're also engaged in our strategic planning process. Okay, we moved through the finance, how we're paying for it, and how we generate it and get it there. And now, two very important parts: our customers and our folks here at OPPD. With regard to our folks here at OPPD, we're on a very, very good trend in safety this year. We've had 3, and you're called DART cases, which is days away from work type of review. We've had 3 to date so far, compared to 11 and 8 in 2011 and 10 respectively. So we're way down there. And in total cases, not only ones just injuries that we've had 9 some very minor, no major injuries, but in 2011 and 10 we had 18 and 17 respectively. So we anticipate reducing this by 50% total when we get done in 2012. In the customer area, of interesting of note, we right now have 5,985 folks signed up for the green power piece. We have 20,000, a little over 20,000 for in-home electrical protection program, and we have 3,200 that have signed up for our new air conditioner management program. So that's been very active and very well received. With regard to just the Omaha area in general and how they're doing on energy conservation, we work very closely with the builders in Omaha, and there are approximately 40 Omaha builders who right now build to Energy Star standards. That means for 2011 we had 493 homes that were Energy Star qualified, and we work to continue to increase that. We did receive some awards in our communication department. The top honor for the best article series that dealt with the flood that we dealt with across the company last year. And so we've been asked to write about crisis communication efforts for the Reagan report. It's RAGAN report in July 2012 issue. Also, our company magazines received honorable mention in the print and employee category. We continue to focus on our communication, internal and external, so that we can ensure that we're doing that well. Our people have been involved in several storm restorations already this year, and have done an excellent job there. We haven't had, quote, the big storm, but we've had several ones that are not small, 10,000 customer outage at the peak. And having gone down a week ago Sunday to watch our crews work out of the Pavilion Center, they really do a good job at that. They do it in a very safe manner. We do not have accidents or injuries when we're on those kind of immediate restoration efforts. But the whole team at OPPD, when you picture the budget reductions we've done in order to make sure our customers do not see a rate increase this year, and high reliability as well as driving forward on the generation piece has been good. One thing I would like to mention that was it just continues to be a great effort to stimulate interest in the future, and that's our power drive competition. This is electric cars. We supply a battery and an engine and some advice, and this year we had 50 cars from 40 different high schools compete. I was out there watching it. We competed at Warner Park this year in the parking lot, and we kind of move it around, but we've had it at Warner Park. It's a good venue for that. The enthusiasm and the excitement from the youth that are involved in that are apparent. And we hear over and over again how the student, teachers, and parents appreciate this event. The real key to me is I've watched this over the years. This was our 14th year, and next year will be our 15th. We do it in partnership with NPPD. And so we get them from across the state. We have runoffs across the state in various towns, and then the finals are here in Omaha, which is what occurred 2 weeks ago. But they learn not only about the technology of electric cars and how to save it, and it's not a race of speed, it's a race of endurance. How long does the car last? How many laps do you get in a certain time period? What's the braking? What's the innovation? But they really learn about leadership and organization. They pick who's going to do it. They have a team that forms. They're required to have a driver change as they go through this hour run by different class, so they have to organize that, pick who's going to do that driving. And it's really to me motivating to see the youth pick up on that technology challenge and perhaps become interested in the technology field, which we hope for the future. We're handing out cards as a recruiting tool there, saying when you're out of college, come up, because we think you have the right attitude with regard to energy, and that being to find ways to use less of it. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report. Thank you.